Welcome back. My name is Anna, and these are the 25 books that I want to read in 2025. Now, last year my reading goal was 100 books, and if you've watched all the books I've read in 2024, you know that I've only read 37 books of that 100. And instead of putting that goal back to 100, I have moved my goal to 150 books. So, of that 150 books, these are the books that I definitely want to ensure that I read if I don't read anything. And this video will be in two sections. I'm going to do like the books that I currently own first, and then I'll do like at the end the books that I don't own as yet, but I do want to own eventually. So this is in no particular order. For the most case, I try not to read the synopsis of my books because I like to go in blind. So for the books that I do know a little about, I will tell you, but for the most case, I probably won't. So just to give you that heads up, tonight we're starting off with Run and Rising, and this is book 3 of the Shadow and Bone trilogy. The last, if I'm echoing, it's my guitar that's above me. I can hear myself echoing, so if it comes off as I'm echoing, it's my guitar above me. So this I hopefully is gonna pick up right where I think book 2 ended, which was Elena basically running or escaping the Dark One for the 15th time or the 100th time or whatever. And this I recently got. This is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Gerber. Now, I've read her Caraval, which I really love. I didn't really like book 2 that much because Stella would not shut the hell up. But this have been all over the place, and as I said, I know nothing about it, but I want, as a part of my 2025 reading goal, I want to read more books. Hence the reason why I put my goal to 150. I also want to read more from authors that I have liked in the past. So there's that. Then I want to read Before I Let Go. This is Kennedy Ryan. If I'm not mistaken, this follows like a couple that broke up after being married for 10 years, something along that line. I've had this book for a really, really long time, and I'm a minimalist. I I don't I tend not to buy things that I'm not using. And I have like a lot of books physically that I haven't read. And a part of me won't want to buy more books if I haven't read the books I have. So I'm definitely trying to read as much of my physical books as possible, which honestly isn't a lot. But there's this by, as I said, Kennedy Ryan, and I want to read Verity. Now, uh, the only Colin Hoover book that I really liked is Reminders of Him. They say this is supposed to be like a horror. I know this follows like a writer of some sorts. Yeah, it follows like a writer, something along that line. I heard it's spooky, and I love a good spooky book when I'm not reading fantasy or a little romance. So I definitely want to get rid of Verity by Colin Hoover. Not get rid of it, but read it, and if I don't like it, possibly give it away. Because one of my goals as well for 2025 is to get rid of books that I don't think I will be reading. And the only way to know if I'm going to enjoy a book or I may or may not read a book is to actually read the book. So there's that. Then this I started reading, and I'm doing that for a reading vlog currently. This is Belladonna. I This follows a girl. Her name is, and I'm reading the book, Signa. I keep calling her Sigma, but her name is Signa, and she has this little relationship with Death. Not like they're not like together, but she's able to see Death. Possibly the only person who's able to see that, and she's also able to see ghosts. And she thinks that Death is following her around. So far, I love the writing, and so this is Belladonna by Adeline Grace. Then we have Archer's Voice, which I this was really popular during like probably 3 years ago, and I really want to read this. I've read a few books from Mia Sheridan. I kind of like a love hate, but this is a romance that follows. I think if I'm not mistaken, Archer is not able to speak. I don't want to say dumb because I don't really like that word, and I don't remember the word that I don't know. I don't really follow much of the disability stuff, so don't come for me. But I know that I think he signs, and I've watched a few like stuff on videos on social media, and I've also have this book, and I just want to read it. So there's that, and then this is book two of the Me After You trilogy. Now, the last book I read in 2023 and the first book I finished last year was book one to this, and I kind of it ended sad. And so book two is basically gonna follow Louisa and her life after Will, because if you've read the book you know what happened. I don't want to spoil it for you. And I really enjoyed book one. It was a 5 star. I've watched the movie like prior to reading the book, and I thought at first that because I watched the movie I would not enjoy the book, but I actually enjoyed the book, and it's probably one of those books that I will possibly reread this year because I really liked it. So this is After You by Jojo Moyes. Then I have my books here to the side. So then there is The Curl Prince, which I'm also doing for a reading vlog by Holly Black. Now this I have, to be honest, since getting back into reading about 2 or 3 years ago, I have not read anything Faye. This is book one of the Folk of the Air series, and I haven't read anything Faye. And I just think that this year I want to read more in the genre that I write, which is fantasy. And since I own this book, might as well read it. That's why I bought it, because I bought it when it was really popular, like really in the peak of popularity. But I know I've been through like many reading slump last year and the year before and the year before that. So this is The Notebook by, I don't know if you can see that. Okay. By Nicholas Sparks. Now, this is based on one of my favorite movies of all time. And then I went online. That's why I don't. And then I went online, and then I don't know how, I don't think I like the movie or the picture it paints anymore. But I own this book, and I like reading books that have been adapted into movies for some reason. I don't know. I think I blame 50 Shades of Grey because I read 50 Shades of Grey before the movie, and I knew from the get go that there are a lot of things that they could not have taken to production. So because of that, I get like a little pleasure from reading books that have been made into movies. So there's that. And I do apologize for my light. And then this is Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. Now, this is a book that I started reading last year. I was doing it for like multiple reading vlogs. Didn't finish it. I write about vampires, and I love reading about vampires, and I do want to read more vampire related books. So I first saw this at my library, and then after returning my library copy, I got my own copy. And I took out the bookmark because I wanted to start rereading it, because the bulk of the time I was reading it, I was listening to the audiobook. As a part of my 2025 reading goal, I want to focus more on reading. Like audiobook will be like something that I do in like a as a like a pastime activity or something. But when I'm reading this year, I do want to dedicate the time to reading. I'll still probably listen to audiobook while I read, but the bulk of the time that I listen to audiobooks, I don't have the physical book at hand, so I do want to read more. I'm not saying that listening to audiobooks isn't reading. It is, because I said it is. But I do want to focus more on the reading part. And then if you listen to audiobooks, there's just something about listening to audiobooks. There's just some scenes in books that like, if done right, the audiobook, oh my god, if you know, you know. Then this is the last physical book I have. This is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And I think this follows like this celebrity who like she's finally ready to tell her story, or her story of how she rose to fame or something along that line. And when I think when I got book of the month, back not last year, back in 2023. And this book was really popular, and this was one of the books that I got and I haven't really read. And I have last year I've been planning to read like way more Taylor Jenkins Reid's book, but I didn't, and so I definitely want to branch out because I want to also read more books from more authors. So we're at the end of the physical book portion of this little vlog. So now I'm gonna go into the books that I don't own but I want to own, and I'm gonna have to find my phone. It is supposed to be around here somewhere because I have like a list on my Samsung notes. I don't know. So I'm gonna find my phone and then I'll just go through them one by one. So I found my phone and I'm just gonna go through the list. So I'm gonna put a picture right here on this side since this is the side that I have more. So the first like ebook, which I already have the deluxe copy ordered for this, is The Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros, which is book 3 of the Imperial. Now I read like book two, book one and book two of where the first is the first series I've met where I've given book one and book two 5 stars. So I'm really hoping that book three doesn't disappoint. Like a lot happened. Um, and so I definitely want to ensure that I read that. And this is this this is The Woman by Kristen Hanna. I got this on loan from my library. Now there was a booktube. I went on booktube watching some videos because sometimes when I'm in between reads, I will go and catch up on my favorite booktubers' videos and reading vlogs. And someone posted The Woman. I don't remember it, but I know it's something along the lines of women at war. I love any book about women at war, so I wanted to read that. I had I had to return the copy that I have from my library. So I have this in my cart. I'm just waiting to like till I find a bunch of books that I like and then I buy them because I like to buy all my books at once. And then I do want to read Finale, which is book 3 of the Caraval series by Stephanie Gerber. Now, in book 2, we found out who was Legend after all that chatting that Stella did, and now we are going on to the finale to see what happened because I think there's one more game left. And although I didn't really enjoy book 2 because of Stella, I definitely want to finish the series because I like it overall. Then there is The Secret Life of Adi LaRue. Now I love any. Is it The Secret Life or The Invisible Life? Let me check. Because I wrote The Secret Life, but I don't think it is The Secret Life. I think it's The Invisible Life. Yeah. The Invisible Life of Adi LaRue by V.E. Schwab. Now, the first V.E. Schwab book I read is A Darker Shade of Magic, and I really like her writing. But the reason why I wanted to read The Invisible Life of Adi LaRue is I love any book that talks about more immortality. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Adi LaRue or whomever the book follows mostly follows this girl who has she made a deal and now she basically she's immortal, but she's forgotten. As soon as she meets someone, they forget her. If I'm not mistaken, she met someone who remembers her. And so I really like the premise of that. So I definitely want to read it. And then I want to read When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. Now, I don't, I read about this book like when it just came out. I really don't remember what it was about, to be honest, but I know that I want to read it if you get me. Quicksilver Now by Kali Hart. That's I just want to read that for the hype, to be honest. And I think that if I'm not mistaken, they want to make this into a movie. So I definitely want to read it before the movie comes out. That's why. Then there's One Dark Window by Rachel Gillick, if I'm not mistaken. That's what I said. I don't want to go and read the premise. I'm just saying what I think I remember it's about. If I'm not mistaken, this is about a a girl who has like a voice inside her head or something along that line. Don't come for me. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but don't judge me. Then I want to read The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. Now, I started reading this back in 2023. I really didn't finish reading it, and I know it's about vampires, and I'll read anything about vampires and dragons. Like, I don't care how boring like, give me any book about dragons, and I'll read it, and vampires. My biggest obsession. Now, given the whole debacle with um Powerless and Red Queen, I do want to read Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I'm also gonna do like a writing video where I try to write like her, follow her writing style. She's a full-time author, and I don't know, I really, she posts online, and I watch her stuff. So I really want to read Red Queen. As a matter of fact, before all of this debacle, Red Queen has been one of those books that have been on my TBR like a really, really long time. I don't know. Every time I go to buy like the physical copy, something goes wrong. But I definitely want to read that book this year. Then I watched a TV series for Shadow and Bone. However, if you've only watched a TV series, you might not know that Brecker, not what's the name, in I don't know, like that whole crew, the crows are not in Shadow and, like, they're mentioned in Shadow and Bone trilogy, but they have like a book for themselves, and I definitely want to read Six of Crows. If I'm not mistaken, my library has a copy, so I might just go to my library and borrow it one of these days. I do have to return a bunch of books to them first, but we'll see how that goes. Then I definitely want to read Powerless because I've been staying out of, like, if I don't read a book or I don't know anything about a book, I try not to get in all this book talk, booktube discussion. But I do want to read Red Queen, and then I also want to read Powerless by Laura Roberts because I need to see. I'm gonna be up to date on all this book drama stuff. And then there's Bubble by Arif Kwang. I didn't really like her Yellow Face book, but it wasn't really that bad. But I haven't really read any academia, and if I'm not mistaken, Baba is a dark academia. I haven't really read any academia books, and as I said, for my 2025 reading goal, I'm trying to branch out and read like more books by more authors, discover new authors, you know. And then I want to read Apprentice to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mahir. I keep saying her name wrong. Now, I love the way how Assistant to the Villain ended with Evie. And while I still don't understand like the world in terms of the fantasy or whatever, I really enjoy reading that book. So I definitely want to read book two. And then there's A Bride by Ali Hazelwood. Now, the cover is nice. I went on BookTube. I was watching a reading vlog, and someone told me the promise. And at the time, I really liked the premise of the book, so I definitely want to read it. As I said, I'm not gonna go look up any of these. I like to go into my book find, and that's why I try. Even though I try to give you like a little synopsis of the ones I know, I try not to go too in depth. So those are the 25 books I want to read this year. Let me know what 25 books you want to read, and are any of my 25 books on your reading list? Have you read any of them? Would you read any of them? Would you recommend any of them? And we're at the end of our video. If you like, don't forget to like this video, and if you want to see more book related content and writing content, don't forget to subscribe. Now have a wonderful year, month, week, day, hour, minute, second, and I'll see you in my next reading or writing vlog. Bye.